Hare Krishna, my name is Ananga Lata Devi Dasi, as you know from the previous videos. For those who are less familiar with the Sanskrit language, Ananga is perfect as well. As I mentioned in the previous videos, I am a Krishna devotee, a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga, and my guru is a direct disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Today, I am not wearing the traditional sari and tilak, and it is because I wanted to present this video, part 3 of Celibacy and Chastity, from a personal mood, sharing more about my practice in this topic with some nuances of realizations that have come through my journey. The first is laying the foundation for femininity and womanhood. As I mentioned, my name as initiated in this tradition is Ananga Lata Devi Dasi. Devi Dasi is the most important part. Devi meaning goddess and Dasi meaning servant of, or in our mood as devotees, we want to aspire to be the servant of the servant of the servant, henceforth of God, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of the Divine Couple. Ananga Lata is a name for Srimati Radha Rani. She is the feminine feature of the Supreme Lord, and they are non-different from each other. She is that divine feminine that we hear about, and our constitutional position is as her servant. Just as God made man in his image, God made woman in her image. So it's not a matter of being the divine feminine, but it's a matter of serving. These are her qualities. This form is an image and a reflection of hers. I want to share some pieces of wisdom and nuggets that I've picked up along the way in terms of my feminine practice. A core part of that for me has been menstrual cycle awareness. There is a organization called the Red School. This is what a blank version of their chart looks like. I'll probably link to them in the comments. And you can see where I've tracked my own, writing little notes to myself, observing what's occurring for me in those times. So generally, the two things that I observe are my energy levels and my libido. The reason why that is important is when I was living in the temple and I was not tracking my menstrual cycle, I would feel so much shame when there were times that kama or that sex desire was stronger, and I blamed myself thinking that it was a dint of failed practice. That is just not the case. The woman's body is on a cycle that has rising and lowering hormones for the purpose of reproduction. And I wanted to share that, although a bit intimate, because it's very important if there are other young women who want to take to celibacy and have experienced these fluctuations. Where are you in your cycle? Because using that intelligently, one can say, oh, okay, the body's doing what the body's doing. I'm at this point in that menstrual cycle. Of course I'm experiencing this. Now, does that mean I need to act on it? No, but I can observe it and I can know that it will pass. In those periods of time when there is a higher libido, it can also be very powerful to channel that energy into art. The lower chakras, which govern that sexual reproduction, that is creation energy. It's the mode of passion. Lord Brahma, the father, the second father of the universe, the father of all living beings, is said to rule the mode of passion. It's creation. And so for women to create children it's a passionate act. And so those lower chakras that govern that creativity, that creative energy, can also be used into creating art. And for me, it's been very powerful, especially when that act uses the body, the act of sex, to also use the body, but in the form of dance and in the form of divine dance. One of my other goddess sisters said before that she loves how Odissi imbibes the beauty and the sensuality of women without the sexuality. And that's a beautiful way of putting it. The origins of this dance are the Deva Dasis, the servants of God. I said before, Devi Dasi, goddess, servant of the goddess. Deva Dasis, servants of Lord Jagannātha, or the Maharis. They actually lived in the temple and considered the form of the Lord, the deity form of the Lord, their husband. That's the origins of this dance. And it's been so powerful for me to engage in this style of dance, in this form of dance. Many of the dances are imbibing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world, which are intimate and not of this mundane realm of play between man and woman. It's completely different. And so it's also a beautiful, for myself, it's been so beautiful, because if I want to show people the glories of God and the glories of the spiritual world through dance, like, I need my own form to be a temple and to be divine, so that what is of this world does not get mixed into that world that I want to allow through me. There's more that I could say, but I think that it's perfect to end here, because there are still some questions, like, okay, celibacy and chastity, are you going to be a nun for the rest of your life? Well, ideally, no. It's not my desire to be. We'll see what the Lord has in store for me. But so then what about that? What about when you're not? Like, what about marriage and the Grihastha ashram, where there is that allowance? That's a great question. I don't know. I'm not there. But my beautiful god sister, Leela Swarupani, Devi Dasi, she is also my teacher in Odissi dance. I will be interviewing her, and we will get to hear so much more about the topics of the next ashram, the Grihastha ashram, as well as the role of Odissi, femininity, womanhood, and healing as represented in her own journey. Thank you for listening, and I invite you to the next video, my website, the previous videos if you haven't watched them, PurifyMyLife.com, PurelyPrabhupada.com, PurelyPrabhupada.org. You can send me a contact form, you can leave a comment, whatever you want to do. I invite you to all of these things. But most importantly, I invite you into a mood of reception to allow my experience and what I've shared in this series to enter into your heart and to see what it does. With that, I bid you farewell. I hope to make a lot more videos on this topic. There are so many things that I could talk about as it relates to womanhood and femininity. Like I said, I majored in women's studies. That's what my degree on my piece of paper says. And this is the true study of a woman. You know, the devotees, the disciples of Prabhupada when he was on the planet would ask, Prabhupada, can a woman go back to Godhead? And he said, not if she is thinking that she is a woman. So I will leave you with that. Hare Krishna. She is a woman that I deeply, deeply look up to. She's a wife, a mother of 3, and a staunch devotee, a staunch servant of our spiritual guru, and completely surrendered to Sri Krishna Bhagavan. She's not just a dance teacher, she is a teacher of bhakti in her own right, and a deep, important, and essential guide in my journey. And so I am very excited to be able to interview her and end this series with that discussion.